shows reading scores dropped more than they had in 30 years. Math scores decreased for the first time in a decade. And this is all thanks to the policy pushed by Democrats and the teachers union. Joining us now is our Mama Bear panel, New York Post's columnist Kara Markowitz and Deputy Managing Editor of Red State, Kira Davis. Thank you all so much for joining me. Carol, I mean, we knew this was happening. Now we have even more data to support this, but it doesn't seem like the Democrats are taking the L and taking some responsibility.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The pandemic didn't cause this. Pandemic measures caused this. Pandemic measures pushed by people like Randi Weingarten, head of the biggest teachers union in the country. She sat down with the CDC. She kept schools closed. She pushed policies that kept schools closed. And Democratic politicians followed her off a cliff. So I think there needs to be some real accountability at this point. I think we all know what happened. We all know the numbers. The New York Times and the Washington Post kind of seem surprised by it, but I know nobody on this panel is surprised by these numbers. So right now we need to demand accountability. We need to have people like Randi Weingarten, people like Anthony Fauci exit the stage and never come back. And they need to really be held accountable for what they've done to America's children.
So, Kira, they're not exiting the stage. This is from the Secretary of Education, Cardona. This is what he had to say, quote, "Today's data confirmed the significant impact the prior administration's mismanagement of the pandemic has had on our children, progress in academic well-being. That's why President Biden, from day one of his administration, pushed so hard to get schools reopened and students back into classrooms. We must repair the damage done by Donald Trump's mismanagement of the pandemic, and we will." Now, we know there was emails of them coordinating with the teachers union to actually keep the classroom closed, but then they got caught. Then they sicked the FBI on parents. I mean, that's just a lie.
Yeah.
It's stunning. It's all a lie. I mean, even the timeline says it's a lie. The president, President Trump was not the president when we were keeping kids out of school. I mean, we had already transitioned to Biden when a lot of that was happening. I mean, these people that we want teaching our kids, they're literally trying to change history right in front of our eyes. They're trying to tell us we didn't see what we thought we saw. It's going to backfire, just like it did for them over the last 2 years. They told us that we were the granny killers, that we were the racists for some reason for wanting our kids to be in school, that we were wrong. And we told them, no, we're not wrong. We know what our kids need. And that backfired because now we're right. And not only are we right, and we know that they're wrong, now a lot of parents like me are standing up and going, okay, well, I'm going to make sure that this doesn't happen again. You want to hold on to that power? Think again. There are thousands of parents across the country running for their school boards right now. We saw what just happened in Florida. Yep. That was a sea change, you know, and I'm fighting here in California for my school board, and I'm just one of thousands of parents. And here's what's going to happen. We're going to take over these school boards, and then we're going to fire every one of those losers.
Well, I got someone else to put on that list, Carol. And Kira's right. We got to get rid of all of these partisans that are in the school district. This is out of West Cook News. They describe what's happening in Oak Park River Forest. This is a new grading system. Oak Park River Forest will order its teachers to exclude from their grading assessment variables it says disproportionately hurts the grades of black students. They can no longer be docked for missing class, misbehaving in school, or failing to turn in their assignments according to the plan. So they're essentially saying black students need better treatment, not equal treatment, and I guess we can't cut the mustard. I mean, I can't think of anything that's more racist, Carol.
Yeah, I agree. That is racism in action, actually. And, you know, the numbers that we just saw, these reading and math numbers, nobody was more affected than black children. And I think the rhetoric that Kira was referring to, where everybody who wanted schools to open was racist, which, you know, clearly made no sense, really impacted this. And the fact that black kids did not get to go to school when a lot of their white counterparts did had immeasurable impact on their lives. And nobody's been held accountable. And I think that the fact is that we're going to keep seeing this decline in our numbers until we face what we've done. I don't think it's over. I think, for example, I know in my own family we see just a delay in what our kids know based on, you know, the closures that we live through. And I know we're getting our kids help, but not everybody's able to do that. And I think we're going going to see these numbers continue to decrease.
It's just crazy. It's like we're going back in time. Instead of getting the kids the proper education, they're just going to change the standards. I can't think of anything that's more insulting. Carol, Kiera, thanks so much for joining the program.